set, go. My name is Jason Hadeed with Elite Athlete Training Systems. If an athlete would come to me and ask me, which would be most important to focus on, I always err on the side of speed. Speed is what recruits are looking for, and speed kills. That's the bottom line. Kids will get in the weight room and they'll pound it out because they can physically see it in the mirror. Speed is hard to train by yourself. You always got to have somebody pushing you. All right, guys, we're talking about the start of the 40 here. What I'd like you to do is take your right foot, if you're coming out as a right-hander, and take your right foot and put it up against the line. Take your left foot and 90 degrees to your right foot and just turn it. We're going to walk ourselves into the setup. So then take your right foot back, line it up with your back heel here. Your feet are shoulder width apart, okay? You're going to come down, put your right hand down so it's outside of your right foot. So when that right arm comes back, it has clearance to come back. And then take your left arm, cock it up, so we're ready to drop the hammer. And on your movement, you're gonna step through, throwing the left arm through in sync with that right knee. Left arm, right knee. Left arm, right knee. Keep that left arm, that right knee, throwing that right arm back, and then driving all the way through. A lot of times you'll see guys come here, and all we're trying to do is instead of you bringing it back here and having to pull it out at an angle, you're coming straight back with it. So all you get to do is just drive straight down the track, and all your momentum and power is focused on in a linear direction. As it drives across your body, what is your body doing? And where are you trying to go? Forward. Okay, so we want everything going forward, all right? First 10 yards of your sprint, you're gonna have about roughly 5 strides. So the goal is to turn those strides over as fast as you possibly can. You don't wanna lengthen the strides too much because then what happens is, then you're in flight. When you're in flight, what happens? Lose power, lose speed, okay? So the goal is to turn them over as fast as you can, driving that right knee out and pulling the turf underneath of you. We call those power strokes. Just driving yourself down the track, propelling yourself forward. The basic formula for speed, guys, is stride length times stride frequency, okay? We were touching on that a little bit earlier. Now, you can lengthen the stride, but if you lengthen it too much, we talked about that, now you're actually leaping, okay? Or bounding down the track, so you lose power and speed. The frequency part of it, you can turn it over, but if you turn over too much, now you have these short little Fred Flintstone strides, okay? So we have to find a common balance, a balance between the two. The great thing about the Spark launcher is that it helps develop power out of the 40 stance, but what's even more critical is that most resistance-based sprinting devices make the athlete use a different type of mechanic throughout the whole sprint, which is something that I've always stayed away from, because it's not the mechanics that you're using in the sprint when you have it resistance-based. If you think of most towing devices, the athlete has to lean very forward to dig through the sprint. Those are not the mechanics that the athlete would normally be doing without the resistance. The great thing about the launcher is it allows the athlete to work on power, but then be launched into their own mechanics, so get back to their natural mechanics through the rest of them. So it uses the best of both worlds, the resistance as well as their own speed and mechanics. As you come out of your stance, you have no choice but to drive those knees in an effort to propel yourself forward. Depending on the person using the launcher and the skill of the person using the launcher, you can actually maximize that. So there's a lot of resistance at the beginning, and you're slowly taking away the resistance to the point where you're actually pulling the launcher, getting back to those natural mechanics. But if you see the athlete driving in that first 10 to 15 yards, it's very critical. Not only their knees are driving, but their arms are driving in sync with their knees, which is another part of the 40 a lot of sprinters don't take very seriously. The arm drive is just as important as the knee drive, because as your left knee moves forward, so does your right arm, and vice versa, the whole way down the track, ultimately making this device a very great piece to optimize your 40-yard performance.